In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the basics of the historical page provided in the OEE Optimizer Suite. The historical page allows you to view historical data for your machines so that you may track historical OEE and correlate events that may be affecting it, such as rejected parts or downtime reasons. First, let's talk about navigation. To get back to the OEE Optimizer landing page, you can press this home button located right up here. To get to the frequently asked questions, and if you need to view this video again at any time, you can click the question mark. Additionally, in this area, there's a toggle button. You can use this button to toggle the theme. In this video, we'll be using the dark theme, but feel free to use the light theme if that's what you prefer. Now, let's move down to the selector and the date picker. On the banner to your left, you can select which machine you'd like to see data for, as well as make adjustments to the time period and shift selections. Let's begin by changing the machine we want to look at. As you can see, all the machines here are listed by which site they're located at. Clicking a machine if it's selected will deselect it, and clicking it when it's deselected will select it. You can also click the site button and deselect or select the entire site. You can select as many machines as you would like, but please do note that some of the charts become more and more densely populated as more machines are selected. For now, let's select 2 machines. Now, let's adjust the time period and take a look at it. Up here, you can view boxes for adjusting the start date, the start time, the end date, and the end time. Note that you cannot select the start time past an end time or an end time before a start time. Now, let's go ahead and start off with the date picker. If you click on one of the dates located here, it'll bring down a drop-down box. From here, you can go between the different months by pressing these buttons, and you can also select which day you'd like to be on. To exit, simply press the X in the top right corner. Moving on, you can select either one of the time selection boxes as well to bring up a similar drop-down box. You can choose your hour, your minute, and whether you'd like AM or PM. You can also exit this window by pressing the X in the top right corner. Located right below all of this is the Quick Select box. The Quick Select box allows you to choose from various pre-selected time periods. For instance, choosing today will bring up all the data for today up until the current time. If at any time you'd like to refresh the data, simply press this refresh button located right here. Now, let's discuss shifts. When all time is selected, it will return everything within that time period. However, selecting shifts will show gaps in between the shifts if there's not a shift running at that point. Let's go ahead and pick shifts 2 and 3 to demonstrate this point. Notice that as shifts are selected, the title will change its time to reflect what time the shifts occur during. If you modify the time in the date selector, it'll return the shift selector back to all time. Additionally, for short time selections, if your end time is past the current time, the page will occasionally auto-refresh to show updated data. Now, let's move on to the gauge section. At the top of your historical page, you'll find the overall information about your current selection. On the left, you'll see your machine selection and time selection. You'll also see your overall OEE and the total amount of good parts made for that selected time period. You can see a gauge for the OEE along with the various parameters it consists of. Underneath these gauges, you can see the current uptime, downtime, good parts made, bad parts made, actual cycle time, and ideal cycle time. Now, let's move on to the chart below. This chart actually consists of 4 different charts. To switch between these charts, click on the drop-down box and make your selection. First up is the interval total output chart. Here, you'll see the good parts and the bad parts of all the machines selected for each interval. The interval of each bar is adjusted based on the length of the time period selected. Hovering over a bar gives you data and a handy tooltip. The x-axis of the bar chart is the same as the x-axis on the timeline, and clicking on a bar in the bar chart will actually change the timeline period to that bar. You can actually view what time period is currently selected by looking up in the top bar once again. Now, let's move on to the total by machine chart. This chart displays the total output for each individual machine. Hovering over one of the bars show you the time period, the total bad parts, and the total good parts for that machine. Clicking on one of these bars causes the other charts to display data for that individual machine. Now, let's move on to the interval by machine chart. This chart shows each machine's output per interval, with each machine getting its own line. Hovering over a line shows you the time and machine you're currently hovering over. Hovering over a dot shows you the same, with the addition of the output for that interval. To view data for an individual machine, simply click on the line for the corresponding machine. To view data for a specific interval on a machine, click on any of the dots along the line for that machine. To exit either of these selections, simply click anywhere in the chart off of the lines. On the right, the legend shows the different machines along with their OEE, arranged from highest to lowest. Moving on, the next chart is the cumulative by machine chart. This chart displays the cumulative total for each machine's output over the selected time period. Like the previous chart, hovering over the line shows you the time and machine you're on currently. Also like the previous chart, selecting a line allows you to see data for an individual machine, and clicking off of the line anywhere within the chart deselects the machine. Finally, excluding the total by machine chart, you are able to drag select the time period on these charts if you wish. Simply click and hold the mouse button, drag your mouse over the time period you'd like to view, and release the mouse button. This feature functions the same way you would use a drag select to select multiple icons on your desktop. Now, looking at the timeline, the red bars represent any downtime the machine has had, while the green bars represent uptime. Hovering over the red bars in the timeline will highlight the corresponding downtime event bar in the downtime chart. This interaction actually works both ways. Hovering over one of the downtime bars in the downtime chart highlights the corresponding bars in the timeline. Clicking on the toggle in the top right corner of the timeline brings up indicators for each reject in this time period. Hovering over one of the pie slices for one of the reject codes will actually isolate all of those rejects in the timeline's time period. The last toggle located on this page is in the top right corner of the downtime chart. Clicking on this toggle determines if the downtime events are sorted by how many there are or how long they lasted. To export raw data from any one of these charts, simply select the export button located in the top right corner. Overall, the historical page of the OEE Optimizer is a powerful tool that allows you to gain insight on a mass amount of data and correlate issues that may be affecting your machine's OEE. It allows you to see the big picture as well as dig down into the small details. If you have any questions, comments, or feature requests, please send them to ThingWorx@automationnth.com.